and temperatures in the Middle East are rising twice as fast as anywhere else.
In Extreme E, we race with purpose, but boy, do we race. And everyone will be looking to challenge the mighty Rosberg X Racing, who were our inaugural champions last season. 10 teams, 20 of the world's best drivers. Let's tell you what's happened so far this weekend.
2 qualifying sessions here in Saudi Arabia for round 1 of Extreme E 2022. The first one, single car action, and then on to racing for Q2 later. Nasser Al Attiyah, the brand new signing for Abt Cooper, did a brilliant lap time, but unfortunately missed the finish. Swung the car back around, lost a lot of time, very frustrated. X44's Gutierrez and Loeb were doing what they do best, going super quickly. Loeb almost a little bit too fast. Benchmark set by them, soon to be bettered by RXR. Johan Kristoffersson, the reigning champion, and his new teammate Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski were on fire. Veloce's Woolridge and Christine GZ looked like they might take that top spot until this happened to the latter. An enormous crash. Christine holding on tight in the car, ended up upside down, got herself out, but with an injury to her ankle and a lot of damage on the car. A question mark as to whether we'd see them in Q2. On to Q2 then, and the race portion. Indeed, Veloce were missing, but a fantastic battle up front between X44's Sebastian Loeb and Acciona Sainz's Carlos Sainz. Nasser Al Attiyah made this brilliant pass on Sainz later in the race, but as he tried to rejoin the track, clattered into the side of the Acciona Sainz machine, doing huge damage to it. Carlos Sainz got it round to the finish, but it retired, and as you can see, the Abt Cooper machine was stricken as well. Kyle Leduc easily passing it. Gutierrez brought home the X44 machine for the win, with Chip Ganassi in P2. Race 2 saw an epic battle between Timmy Hansen for Andretti United and Tanner Faust for McLaren. Faust just could not find a way through, but brought the car home in touch. We were looking at a great battle. As Arlen-Kotlinski came into the changeover zone, she slipped off the speed limiter. Meanwhile, Emma Gilmore couldn't get the McLaren restarted, and out front, Katie Munnings was flying for Andretti United, but being chased down by Johan Kristoffersson. Right at the end of the lap, the current champion passed Munnings on the run down the hill just before the line, but that speeding in the pit lane meant that they were given a 17-second penalty, and that dropped them down to P4. X44 take their 6th top qualifier spot in a row, the whole of last season and round 1 this year. Confirmation of the results, Kristoffersson and Arlen-Kotlinski won Q1, but with their finish in Q2, Heat 2 being a lot lower than Loeb and Gutierrez's win in their race, it is Loeb and Gutierrez who take that top spot. On the right-hand side, 3 cars through to each of the 2 semi-finals, with 2 going through, 4 cars into the crazy race where only 1 will qualify.
I'm with a very happy Sebastian Loeb and Christina, who have just been reliving their run. A brilliant start from you, Seb, to get you into the best position on a dusty course.
Yes, for sure. I had a good start, so we were ahead in the first corner. That's what we wanted for a course like this, because it's fast and dusty, and so I could manage to stay ahead until the end to create a little gap, and Christina did a great job after. So we won the Q2.
It gives you a very good position as well, of course, going into semi-finals. How important, seeing that start and seeing the run, is that grid position?
The start position is very important for all the teams, so we try to push hard in the qualifying to take the best position for the semi-final.
Well, what a race it was, and what action it was between Nasser Al Attiyah and Carlos Sainz. Just look at the impact on that. It was a big old smash, wasn't it? And these two have a rivalry that goes back years.
Yeah, it was huge, wasn't it? You know, they've been rivals at the front of the Dakar Rally for a long, long time. I suspect they would have had differing opinions as to whose fault it was, but we can find out a bit more.
Carlos, a very difficult day yesterday, I know. We've heard of a heated exchange, shall we say, in the command centre. What was it you said? What was said to you?
No, you know, when something like that happens, it can happen to any of us. Normally, you come and say sorry. You know, I try and I come in front of you, but then Nasser I think he said that the power steering was broken or something. But later on, with the telemetry, I knew it was not the case. So it was, you know, a little bit funny, I will say. But yeah, this is what it is. Expensive. You know, as I say, it can happen to anybody, but when you do mistake like that, normally you come and say sorry.
And he didn't say sorry?
No, at the moment not.
What's your side of it? What was said to you? What did you say to Carlos?
No, I think it was a race, you know, and I get my line, you know, and I pass Carlos, and then I've been a little bit wide. It wasn't two-wheel. I cannot manage to come back, you know, in four-wheel, and then I miss the flag, and suddenly I get heat from my side, you know. If it's accident, I think he crashed our car, you know. And was not my mistake, because okay, I will get penalty of the passing the flag, but I get hit, you know, in 150 kilometer an hour, you know. But okay, was a race, you know, and sorry what happened. I think we need to just keep going, and then we find ourselves in the steward, you know, and the decision. I respect the decision what I get, you know. Today just we are focusing for the crazy race. We like to be with the crazy race, you know.
Well, it's fascinating listening to them, isn't it? Because it seems like there is no love lost between them. Sorry seems to be the hardest word, is what I'd say. Power steering not broken, according to Carlos Sainz, and NASA saying, well, it wasn't my mistake.
Look, they're never going to agree, are they? I mean, it sounds like Carlos just wanted a quick apology. I think, you know, NASA doesn't think it's his fault, so doesn't feel he needs to. Yeah, NASA thinks it's a racing incident. For us, just a great bit of action, isn't it? And a grudge match that might continue through the rest of the season.
Well, this is the map that will be challenging everybody. The track, you can see we've got Speed Valley, where the drivers will get up to a stonking 160 kilometres before slamming on the brakes, and the rocky section, which has been a real challenge all weekend.
Yeah, that's up at the top. Then it's a couple of rights down to Ridge Line and dropping into the canyon. That's where we saw some alternate lines taken yesterday by Tanner Faust in that brilliant race with Timmy Hansen.
Through the Continental Traction Challenge, and at the moment it's Timmy Hansen who has that with a 1:58.10. 5 extra points up for that one.
And it's worth mentioning as well that the track design was done in consultation with the local conservation team in NEOM, so it avoids anything in the area which needs avoiding. We always aim to race without a trace.
Well, welcome to Sunday. It is finals day, semi-finals, of course, first up here in the Desert X Prix, the first round of season 2 of Extreme E. And we've got our semi-final cars already lined up, and one of our drivers looking very relaxed. Johan Kristoffersson, of course, 4 times Rallycross world champion. How are you feeling about this one?
No, I think I feel good. I will start in the center spot, so I have, one car at each side, so start's going to be very, very important. I think even though it's not going to be so dusty, I think, I would like to try and hand over the car to McKenna in the lead if possible. But yeah, let's see, it's going to be a tough race.
Reigning champion, of course, and you've got X44 right next to you. You'll be looking to, I'm sure, emulate the success you had in round 1 last year.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the aim, but I think we cannot always, we cannot really forget about our other competitors as well. I think Q1, Q2 showed that it's been, closest on time, I think, ever. So there is a lot of teams which are super, super fast. So, but of course, when you start against X44, of course, we would like to try and grab the win. But we cannot do more than just try our best.
Can't be much closer than last season, can it? Thank you very much to you, Johan. Best of luck. Okay, come on round then. We're going to head to X44. And here we have Christina in the car, ready to go. Christina, you've got RXR next to you, Johan Kristoffersson, of course, semi-final, all to play for here, top 2 through to the final, all or nothing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very important to have a good start, so I'm very focused in this point. And after that, we only want to give to Seb a good position, and then if we take 1 or 2, it will be enough to take the final.
We shall see how it goes. Thank you very much. Best of luck. Okay, heading to our final car on the grid. And this is some story. Clara Anderson tested positive for COVID on the eve of flying out here to Saudi Arabia. Tamara Molinaro has stepped in, and not just that, stepped up. You have been absolutely flying so far, Tamara. and you've got it all to play for here in the semi-final for a chance to make the final.
Yeah, you know, it's not a really easy semi-final for us. I mean, we are up against legends of this sport. But, you know, we are going to give our best, and you never know what happens. And for sure, we are not going to give it up so easily. So let's see.
Thank you very much to you. Best of luck. Look forward to seeing you out there.
Great stuff from Laura Winter down on the grid. Drivers, that was just a few moments ago. They'll be sitting on the start line now, ready to head into this amazing backdrop for the first time racing with knockout format. Of course, yesterday a bit of racing for qualifying, which I have to say was sensational. Like, we've all been looking forward to going races, and everyone was like, okay, wow, that was pretty wild. And we've got more wildness to come today.
Attention all teams, this is race control. Stand by for the start of the Desert X Prix. Semi-final 1 is about to commence. Energize your systems and prepare to race.
So we are ready to go racing. This is semi-final 1. The teams are lined up. It's Excite, RXR and X44.
Remember, 2 go through from each of the semi-finals. So semi-final 1 and semi-final 2 have got 3 cars in each. The top 2 will qualify. The Crazy Race has 4 cars, and it is a proper crazy race now because only 1 goes through. And it was craziness yesterday. We're expecting more of that later. We've got all 3 of those races coming up for you right now. There is Gutierrez with her finger on the start button, maybe changing a setting just as she leaves the line. Reigning champion Christopherson in the middle of the grid. And then on the outside, Tamara Molinaro. Yesterday we saw a brilliant start from Rivalry, where X44 are sitting on the right-hand side for Andretti United. I note they're not in the ruts. Will they get a better start than Christopherson, who's in that heavily cut-up middle section away from the line now? X44 car sits down nicely, but Christopherson moves across to block them immediately. Trying to get alongside Gutierrez. He's just up behind Christopherson now. She takes the line that Fouts was on yesterday. She's still alongside the RXR machine. Up and over the first crest. Oh, sideways to Gutierrez. Gathers it up, slides out wide. Molinaro going to come through the gap now. Gutierrez, the rear end of the car kicks up. So out wide is Molinaro. Christopherson goes defensive on that second turn. X44 almost getting to P2, but Molinaro gets around the outside. So Gutierrez nearly got it done on Christopherson, but unfortunately, Jenny, the compromise was she now ends up in P3.
But now, look, Excite and Molinaro just absolutely ploughing towards RXR. This will be the moment. Oh, that is a really sloppy car for X44, all over the place for Gutierrez. Looks like she's really struggling to hold on to that. It's getting some very unfortunate kicks up and down, but look, Christopherson looking in his mirrors to see exactly where the Excite car of Molinaro is, right behind you.
Gutierrez nearly got it done. Then she was compromised once she by the bumps in turn 1, but then also in the dust behind Molinaro. She couldn't see the line she wanted to be on. Hits one of those camel grass lumps and bumps, and you're off, basically. Molinaro's right up there. These 3 cars, if they can get back, you know, for the switch over close together. Oh, contact on the exit.
This is feisty stuff from Molinaro. She is going for Christopherson. She knows they're the current reigning champions of that car, and she is not giving them any extra room. She is giving it everything.
Oh, in the background, sideways, having a look inside again. Has Christopherson gone a bit too deep, or is he carrying more speed wide? You're on board now with Johan. Can't see behind on the right-hand side, alternate line for Molinaro. So Molinaro's gone up to the right-hand side and gets past. Maybe a problem, or did she just get offline? X44 have come straight through, and Molinaro goes from the tailgate of Christopherson to the back of the field.
How strange. There was a weird kick at the top of the hill for Rosberg, and I wondered if she'd actually gone through and cut under. But then, as you say, maybe a problem for her because she's dropping back a little. But look how much Gutierrez is having to hold on to. It's like a bucking bronco at the rear end of that car.
Molinaro seems quick in the background. That was strange, Jenny, wasn't it? We just couldn't see quite what happened after the attempt on Christopherson. It looked as though you saw Johan went high on the line and Molinaro went low. I don't know if she thought there was a better line down there that just didn't work out.
Maybe.
You know, you're still kind of exploring your lines. We see, particularly on this section, people taking different lines. She turns in now to the long right-hander, but doesn't seem to be losing too much time. But this is all played into Christopherson's hands, and RXR out front. Look, the big gaps now between the cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Christopherson at one point was looking really sketchy. He knew he was under so much pressure, but it's gone his way. Right, Excite using their hyperdrive. That means they get an extra 5 seconds of superpower boost, which is in an aim to try and claw back some of that time and distance between Gutierrez in the X44 Hamilton car. The car's nice and close together. A reminder, they do 1 lap, go into the switch zone, and then change over drivers and do another lap.
I think Molinaro's used that in a good place, so she's carried some of that speed up the hill. She now goes high and then low on the hill here, carrying speed down. Is she going to be cautious through the long left? She's not. She drops down towards the low line. This is the line we saw yesterday Christopherson took, and also we saw Lance Woolridge taking it. Looks pretty relaxed. You see her looking across to the left. She's looking at Gutierrez, her target there just in front. Here comes Christopherson down now to the switch zone. Gutierrez, I would say that there's not a lot of difference between those two lines, but Molinaro has definitely closed that gap using the hyperdrive where she did.
Now you've got to slam on the brakes as you come down that sort of ski zone hill onto 30 kilometers an hour. We saw a lot of mistakes there, a lot of penalties yesterday in the switch.
Some frustration, I think, in the car there on board, if you heard that. Okay, here's another look at the start. Gutierrez, that's that same line, Jenny. Do you remember yesterday, Andretti United, to me, the smoother grid positions are giving the better launch. She's alongside Johan, but as she comes over the crest, she gets a bad bounce and just has to gather it up. She runs across the road, and look, Molinaro's alongside already. She then hits the camel grass, drops to P3. Christopherson was actually quite tight on the inside here, covering it off, and then Molinaro around the outside. It was close between them.
Really close, really good start from all three of them, actually. It was fascinating to see. So you can see how close all the cars are when they come into the switch zone. To explain the switch, they have 45 seconds, mandatory stop. That was a lovely sliding stop from Excite in there. 45 seconds to change over driver. They have to hold for 45 seconds, and then we'll see them come out. Just look at this. This is the moment around the top of the rock section that we saw Molinaro really trying to push and pressure Christopherson.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a mistake from Johan or if he was struggling, you know, maybe he was struggling to get the car turned in where Molinaro hadn't, you know, maybe she used the handbrake and he didn't, but either way she got the better exit, and I don't think Christopherson would have expected her to be that close.
Just look at the long shot, X44. Gutierrez has done a great job of sliding the rear end of that car, which I said looked loose. She slid it round so that actually they're facing slightly pointed out, and that looks like a really good drive position when they do the switch. First out, it is RXR. Remember, they're speed limited until those white signs where they can take off the 30-kilometre-an-hour limiter.
Has Loeb got a problem? Oh, just gets out in front, only just gets out in front of Excite. So Excite Energy Racing now have Ollie Bennett on board. So Bennett will try to hold on to the back of Sebastian Loeb, but Ollie will know he's got his work cut out here. You know, Loeb's 9-time World Rally Champion. But there's a lot to be learned from holding on to the back of somebody, and we've just seen, you know, Christopherson being hung onto the back of as well. And I think Ollie Bennett's gone up the inside of Sebastian Loeb into the first corner. Now coming up towards the top of the hill. Bennett on the left-hand side of your screen. Loeb hits the same bit of grass, I think, almost that Gutierrez did earlier on. Coming up now to the left-hander, Loeb's got the inside line. Ollie Bennett trying to carry the speed around the outside and look back up the inside of him. Bennett's having a good weekend, isn't he? He's inside Loeb again on the way into turn 3. Loeb slides slightly wide. It couldn't be closer.
This is absolutely fascinating stuff. Bennett doing a cracking job, and I think Molinaro set him up for a really good challenge on Sebastian Loeb. Now, Loeb's job is to try and hunt down, as you can see, the RXR car out in front. What can they do? This is fantastic. Arlen Kotelinski in that car for Rosberg X Racing. Remember, she has switched teams, so getting to grips with that RXR car. But look, Bennett is not falling off the back of the X44 car.
No, he's got to follow him down this line. You see where the camel grass is left and right here. I was actually talking to Ollie yesterday, and he said it's 160 kilometres an hour in a dust cloud. Oh, Bennett's super late on the brakes there. You can see the underguards of the car digging into the sand. He'll take a look on the exit here. Oh, no, flag for Bennett. So he clipped the flag on the inside, Jenny. That's almost certainly going to be a 5-second penalty. That's a shame for Ollie. But I tell you what, he'll do well here. Whatever happens, follow Loeb. Do what Loeb does. That's how you pick up when you sit behind someone. And Ollie he'd be the first to admit that Loeb is obviously... Oh, wow! Problem for RXR. RXR have gone right to the back of the pack.
Wow, this is disaster. What has happened to Arlen Kotlinski? She's put on, I wonder if she made a mistake there, actually. The car is flying down the hill now as she uses her hyperdrive. She has got to claw back. There must have been an error there, I think, for whatever happened with RXR. They're now back, coming past Excite. This is a distraction Excite didn't need. They're all over the place. They thought they were in a battle for X44. Now they're in a battle with RXR, and X44 just easing away at the front a little bit. This is fascinating. What has happened? Oh, the rear end's all over the place. Come on, Arlen Kotlinski. You need to get control of this Odyssey 21.
Bennett makes the pass, so Arlen Kotlinski's gone sideways. But remember, we think Bennett's going to get a 5-second penalty, maybe more, for taking the flag down. It varies on whether you clip it or take it down. Arlen Kotlinski takes the Christopherson-Leduc line from yesterday, runs the car out wide. Bennett should get more exit speed here, but Kotlinski's up the inside. Contact between them. She almost hits the flag, but she just manages to avoid it. Bennett runs wide now towards the flag where Alatia went wide yesterday. So Bennett leading. Arlen Kotlinski on the way in, miles out front now. Sebastian Loeb for X44. Looks like they're going to book their spot in. Ollie uses his hyperdrive now. He needs to gap her by 5-10 seconds if he can before the finish, Jenny, because I think that penalty's going to drop it back.
This is played perfectly for Sebastian Loeb. Look, he's just easing out at the front, trying to gain extra space, and these two are tussling for it all the time. Fascinating, and this is the most aggressive part of the track. We know it claimed victims yesterday. What will they do under pressure? Don't get in the ruts, don't flip the car.
Hats off to Molinaro for jumping in this car and doing a great job, but also to Bennett. For me, this is his strongest performance in Extreme E so far. He did clip the flag, and that is a shame, because I think it's going to cost him. He takes that low line as well. So we saw that this was pretty similar in terms of lap time to the high line. Let's see where he slots in behind.
And look, you can see the X44 car is coming to a finish. Sebastian Loeb flicks the car up, and he has one semi-final one against all of the odds, against adversity. And look, this is the battle for second place. Oh my goodness, it was so close. I think it's just gone to Excite. We need to look at the timing screens, because that was as close as you can get. But look, Excite go through, which means Rosberg X Racing, our champions from last year, could be out.
Depends on that flag hit, doesn't it, for Bennett? So I think Bennett will get a penalty. There was 0.07 of a second in between them. Arlen Kotlinski risked it all down to the line, didn't she? It was such a great race behind them, behind Loeb. But as I say, Bennett, I kind of feel sorry for him for just clipping that flag, because they're going to know that it makes the difference.
Good call. Got so excited.
I mean, no, there's the mistake. Wow.
Wow, that is really weird. The car just dug into that rock, got lost in the hole, and she couldn't get it out.
I wonder if there's something mechanical on that then, Jenny, but it seemed okay for the rest of the lap. You know, it was quick enough. Right, we're hearing no penalty for Excite, but I'm... OK, well, look, we'll have to leave the stewards to look at that. I saw the flag get hit, whether or not it went down or not. I mean, we'll have to see. If that's the case, Jenny, then you're right, RXR are out, which would be an amazing turn of events.
Wow. Well, stewards have a big effect and a big role to play in motorsport, but let's see what happens. We're not there. We can't see exactly what happened up at turn 9, but fascinating. And I have to say, either way, the Excite team drove brilliantly. They have been driving brilliantly all weekend, and I think fair play to them. Ollie Bennett absolutely held his own against Molinaro as well. The team coming together.
Well, he was up against Sebastian Loeb. I mean, you know, Loeb's been the class, hasn't he? 9-time world champion against Ollie Bennett, and he did okay. But we are hearing it is under investigation. So these results, I think you'd have to say, were provisional.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough, isn't it? What a race. Remember, this is just the first of the 3 semi-finals. We've got semi-final 1, semi-final 2, and the crazy race. And if you didn't think that was crazy, well, we're just going to turn up the heat all weekend. And it's been absolutely brilliant. Let's go down to Laura Winter.
Michaela, flying along at the front, and then it just seems to all go wrong. What happened?
Well, I hit the bump, which really upset the car a lot. I was taking it easy there because I had that yesterday, so I don't know why that happened. So yeah, that's where I lost the 2 cars, and I tried to do everything I could to keep the place and overtake. So let's see what happens.
Excite beat you to the line. They are under investigation for clipping a flag, so currently your place in the final hangs in the balance.
Yeah, it does. I mean, yeah, it's really a shame that happened, but let's see what they decide.
Thank you very much. We'll wait to see the results. Thank you.
Yeah, we certainly will wait to see the results eagerly, because a place in the final, as they say, depends upon it. But you can see this is the command center. This is where they're going to have to make the decision. And we're going to try and show you the replay of what happened out there. So this is Ollie Bennett coming up to the rock section, takes the right-hander. Just look for that flag on the right-hand side because he tucks in close to it and absolutely smatters it. So we are hearing it will be a 10-second penalty, which unfortunately for them is a big, big cost, and it will knock them out of their place in the final and sees RXR go through by a whisker, really, wasn't it? Just really unfortunate for them.
I am gutted for them, you know, because you have to say they're the underdogs. You know, Ollie is not Sebastian Loeb. Sebastian Loeb and Gutierrez win for X44. Brilliant job by them. I mean, yeah, that was not in doubt in the end, was it? Although it was closer than we thought it might be. We were hearing some radio chatter there, but couldn't quite make out what it was. But yeah, that would have been, the thing is, it would have been an amazing result for Excite, Jenny, especially considering Molinaro was on standing duties. It just would have been really cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think
it would have been their first final.
Yeah,
that's what's so disappointing, is it would have been their first final, and Ollie just clipped the flag. But those are the rules, you know.
I mean, he didn't clip it. Let's face
it. He took it right down.
Absolutely destroyed it.
But you know, it's 6 inches. It's 20 centimetres, and you just think, oh, it's just gutting, isn't it? It's yeah.
Yeah.
Metric, imperial, I don't know, you know, something along those lines.
I just
not much.
Yeah, heartbreak for them, but it does mean going through from that session will be Rosberg X Racing in second place and X44 Loeb and Gutierrez sailing through in the end due to those problems for both of the other teams and that moment where the pace of the RXR car just got absolutely sucked out. Let's go back down to Laura Winter.
Ollie Bennett, I think all of the Extreme audience are gutted for both you and Tamara because that was your best performance yet in an Extreme E car. Talk us through the moment you clipped that flag.
It was a tough race. You know, we knew we were up against some real true legends here, probably more the World Championships between them than I've got birthday. So to be up against that was intense. The first half lap battling with Loeb for me was amazing. Tamara gave me the car in perfect condition, really. But yeah, I tried to run deep in on a legend and I caught the flag for doing it. But yeah, it cost us. In the end, it cost us that P2, but we had a great time.
Yeah, 10 seconds, but not bad going toe-to-toe with Sebastian Loeb, was it? Thank you, Ollie, and best of luck looking ahead.
Cheers. Thank you.
Delighted for him, delighted for the team, and I think he really enjoyed his moment of glory. Let's have a look at the start then. As you can see, RXR taking the middle line and pushing out, going towards X44 actually in quite an aggressive manner at times. X44 trying to take the inside line, and you can see the unfortunate bounce that Gutierrez got just meant that the car was a little bit out of control, which meant that Molinaro could sneak through on the inside line. Going up towards turn 2, they go very wide, but RXR definitely taking the preferable line. A slingshot from Molinaro, which really set up a nice move for them.
It was a great race, wasn't it? Couple of big moments for people trying to gather things up. It was mistakes from various people, wasn't it? Like this, you know, just a bad bounce that gives somebody else an opportunity. But that's what it's like racing off-road. You've got to pick your line across this terrain. We did see some alternate lines, Jenny, and everybody made them work. That's up onto the rocky section. This is the flag on the right. So that was Molinaro, look, on the exit, getting into Kristoffersson. I still don't know there whether Johan didn't think she was that close, whether he made a mistake on the exit, whatever it was. But look, here it is, backwards from Johan.
I love that they're giving so much pressure. There's just no preferential treatment, is there, for someone like Kristoffersson? You just get stuck in and do whatever you can. And I think if nobody's looking, or if anybody's looking at Molinaro and not thinking, I want to sign her.
Well, we've already lost.
Property.
Yeah, we've already lost one championship driver to a team, haven't we? You know, it won't be long, I'm sure, before. But basically, the hot job will be championship driver, because when the opportunity comes up, it's a chance to prove it, isn't it? There's the bad bounce. I've never seen a car get stopped so quickly by Sanders. That you can see the bump. It fired the rear of the X44 and the Excite, but Arlen Kotlinski, I would say, was unlucky with her bounce there. The speed just got sucked out of the car instantly. But then look at this again. Sideways moment and away. Yeah, tricky.
Really tricky. The handling of the car seemed very different from yesterday. We had quite a lot of rain overnight, so whether that's got something to do with that, I don't know. Fascinating, though.
Oh, Molinaro really upset. Look, they haven't made it through. I understand. They tried so hard, bless her. You know, when somebody puts all on the line like that, And he's heading outside just for some fresh air.
Yeah, that's one word for it. What a tough and brutal background and backdrop this is for some brutal racing as well. Now, I know a lot of you were thinking, why are you here in NEOM? Well, let us tell you, Laura Winter has been finding out all about the environmental impact and desertification.
Climate change is being accelerated by the huge quantities of greenhouse emissions that are being put into our atmosphere by human activity, nearly 3/4 of which comes from our use of energy. Our various industries use a large proportion of this, as do our buildings, but the way we move ourselves and goods from A to B causes over 16% of greenhouse emissions. And within that 16%, pipelines, trains, shipping and aviation all have relatively small parts to play compared with the nearly 12% of gases that road transport uses. But what effect is this having on the deserts of the world, like those of Saudi Arabia?
Well, probably the most important thing is that it's warming at a rate that outstrips that of the global average temperature by quite a long way. The background global average for the last century is a degree and a bit, but we're seeing the sort of increases of around about 0.6 degrees per decade here, and the additional heat that we're seeing stresses everything. Temperatures above 50 degrees C are outright dangerous. It's a real issue. Climate change, we know for sure, is brought about by greenhouse gases, which are of human origin and are increasing. The key thing to do is to reduce that emission and eliminate it, and to do that as quickly as we possibly can. Extreme E then is contributing directly to the solutions, showcasing the role that electric cars can play, proving that they're capable of operating in extreme environments. It's not only through the promotion of electric vehicles that Extreme E is working, it's also through leaving behind legacy programs, things that last beyond the race itself. We're working with NEOM in this part of the Arabian Peninsula. NEOM seeks to reintroduce trees to region where they've been removed and to recreate the sort of microclimates and environments in which ecosystems can function again. Water is an incredibly scarce resource in desert areas, but it does exist. And the re-nurturing process involves water at its center. So reintroducing species, nurturing them, carefully managing these environments is one small way of making that positive change.
NEOM proving to be an absolutely stunning backdrop for the first of this brand new season of Extreme E. The desert is harsh, it's growing, but my word, the popularity of this championship will be growing after battles like that.
We've had some amazing action, haven't we? We're going to take a look at a couple of onboards now. I think it's Sebastian Loeb versus Ollie Bennett. And I mean, so here we go. This was Bennett. So Bennett got out. They weren't that close together on the way into the switch zone, so Excite did well to get back out. Well, they certainly weren't side by side. And Loeb's there just in front. Now, let's be honest, you know, Loeb's got 9 World Rallycross Championships. Bennett last year, they didn't make it through to the final. And I'm kind of gutted this time because this is the best we've seen from Ollie Bennett. He held his own against a 9-time world champion, just like his teammate Molinaro had held her own against a 4-time world champion. So it was great to see.
And you can just see on board the difference of, you know, steadiness, I suppose. You can see Loeb bucking around all over the place, whereas actually Ollie's trip into the first and second turns were pretty smooth, but I just wonder if these cars are set up very differently to handle this desert sand.
Well, great track design as well, Jenny. The fact that the different lines do work here, so there's at least 2 places, if not 3 on the track where you can use an alternate line. Christine GZ is on the other end of the line. Christine, first of all, how you feeling? Short version, because we're looking at some brilliant pictures as well.
That's a very short version.
Okay, well,
Christine, are you there? I think we're having
sorry.
There she is.
How are you feeling? Look at these pictures for us and tell us what you thought of this great race.
Well, it was amazing. Super exciting, and to see even Oliver going so fast, amazing. Proud.
Oh, that's super cool. How are you feeling, mate?
Great, thank you. Just 1 foot less, but all fine. We'll be ready for Sardinia.
Who needs 2 feet anyway? It looked like a big impact. But tell me, what are the conditions like? Because we see at this bit, look, the RXR car just getting absolutely sucked in the sand, almost like sinking.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, the track is, you know, changing constantly. And like you saw yesterday, it was like really hard and big ruts. So of course, like I was just flat out and all of a sudden I was sideways. So, I mean, it is what it is, you know, we have to adapt to the terrain as soon as it changes, but of course it's getting harder and rougher, so it's going to be an exciting final.
Certainly is, isn't it? Christine GZ, thank you. Hopefully we'll speak to you a bit later on, but rest up, get that foot elevated. What a fascinating duel between these two. X44 were way out in front at this point, but just seeing it, Loeb and Bennett, fantastic duel between the two of them. We've got more racing coming your way in just a moment's time, so don't go anywhere.
Another look at the beautiful backdrop here in NEOM, Saudi Arabia for round 1 of 2022 Extreme E. Some great racing in semi-final 1, some brilliant racing yesterday in qualifying. This track is racing really well, but it is developing very quickly. There are areas now where we're seeing cars getting bad bounces. We're seeing people use some different lines. Look at this, stunning, absolutely beautiful.
It's where you'd go pod racing, isn't it, in some sort of futuristic racing, and this is what Alejandro Agag, the man who founded and thought up this whole concept, decided he wanted to do this, and it looks brilliant in NEOM in Saudi Arabia. Lots to get excited about and lots of racing still to come.
Attention all teams, this is race control. Stand by for the start of the Desert X Prix. Semi-final 2 is about to commence. Energize your systems and prepare to race.
Teams in the command centre looking ready to go. There's Carlos Sainz, whose efforts finished early yesterday. Well, he made it round to the finish, but the car didn't go back out with Laia Sanz.
Yes,
Sarah
Sanz.
Price is there as well. Look at Timmy Hansen, all the teammates ready to jump in.
Sanz saying she felt she was at a bit of a disadvantage because she didn't get that run out there again, so she'll be a little bit on the back foot here, but you can see them all lining up. Andretti United once again choosing the far right option. They liked that yesterday. Sainz and Sanz in the middle, and Leduc and Price taking the left hand in their Chip Ganassi car.
There is Laia Sanz. She will be a little bit of a disadvantage, but to be honest, I think the track is changing so quickly. And also of all the drivers, she's probably one who is very well placed to read the sand. You know, 10 Dakar finishes 9 on a bike. She knows how to read the road.
I think that bird was in competition with our drones, so you can get the best bird's eye view. Fantastic out there. So the dunes are waiting for them. Those big grass hillocks as well, ready to catch anybody out. And the lights red at the moment, not quite ready to go racing.
Leduc looking super calm on board the Hummer EV.
This is our starting grid for semi-final 2. As you can see, Chip Ganassi versus Acciona Sainz versus Genesis Andretti United. This is a great battle. Leduc, Sanz, Munnings. They had to choose who would go in the car first. Strategically looking ahead to the final, Andrew Coley, who's alongside me, Jenny Gow in commentary, Laura Winter down in the pit lane, and you've got to choose the right driver for what you think will be the right outcome at the right point.
You have to place your bets on when you think you need which driver to, you know, is it the start? Do you want to chase them down? Do you want to do the opposite of the other teams because you think you have the faster female or the faster male? You know, whichever way you do it, it's tactical to get the car to the final and then see if you can get that win.
A lot of these drivers with limited experience of going wheel to wheel and really having to bang and make contact, but I tell you what, they're soon learning and learning fast. All of these drivers returning for a second season. So let's see, eyes to the left or right. Some of the drivers complaining they were finding it difficult to see those start lights yesterday. Oh, final little pull on the belts for Katie Munnings. And we are almost ready for the start of semi-final 2 in Extreme E Round 1, Season 2. And we go green the cars are away from the line, and it looks like a very even match so far. Andretti United on the right trying to ease through. Acciona Sainz getting a little bit of a run now, and Chip Ganassi to the left-hand side, just trying to drag race up to the first turn. So it's Acciona Sainz taking the line, but look at this, taking the outside line and trying to get on the inside for turn 2. Somehow they've found some great pace for Ganassi. We know Kyle Leduc is an absolute demon in the car, and he is proving to be very aggressive out there. They needed good luck and good fortune, but this is a great showing for the car for Leduc to get out there, and Sainz and Sands just trying to close the gap at the moment. Leia hunting him down.
Brilliant there by Kyle Leduc. He got the worst start of the 3 cars for me. It looked like he dropped back, but he's managed to keep the car full throttle. Mullings, you see, glances down at the wheel and uses a hyperdrive now, going to try and pass Sands in the background. You can see the extra power carrying her along. This will narrow to one line, though. She's got to get it done soon before the camel grass comes in. Right up behind Leia Sands. She's going to pull out from the outside. Watch out for the grass. Katie Mullings trying for a move here. Can she go late on the brakes? I don't think she's quite going to get there.
Yeah, unfortunately for her, the track narrows right down at the rock section. She's closed the gap in, but has she used that hyperdrive too early? Now it's gone, and Sainz might be able to use it more defensively as she needs to, but this is a thick rutted section. The sand flings up behind the cars. This is working perfectly for Chip Ganassi. They're managing to steal a little bit more lead. They're about 5 seconds ahead now of the Acciona Sainz team.
So looking up ahead, is this where the RXR car came, it went through the bump, isn't it, and went super slow? I think on the inside line. You see where they're crossing across the bumps now, Munnings on that inside. It was where we saw the bad bounce, and it almost came to a halt. So they all went with a slightly higher line to give them a different way of crossing those bumps. The gap now 4.63 between Chip Ganassi Racing and Acciona Sainz. Munnings will and Sands will want to stay in touch with Kyle Leduc as much as they can. Obviously, they don't want to give their teammates too much work to do after the switch.
Yeah, just remember, Chip Ganassi have not had it easy in Extreme E. Whenever they've been out in front, disaster has struck. So for them, it's really important that they can get a really clean, decent run in, don't have any disasters, and get their car through to the final. That's the battle for them. Look at that shot. It's absolutely beautiful. As you can see, the course twisting round, the drone keeping up with our cars. Out in front, it is Leduc, then it's Sands, and then you can see Katie Munnings just trying to find the right line to propel herself forward and take some speed down through this very fast, flat section.
Kyle Leduc already in it in the Hummer EV. They made the final once last year in Sardinia, and if you remember, they were leading it by a mile. They checked out. Kyle Leduc had done this out front. Only semis now, of course, but he'd done this. He was miles in front, and then poor Sarah Price, when she took over, the car broke. So they will just be desperate to book that slot in the final. They don't need massive risk here, but the bigger the gap, the better. So Sarah can just chill a little bit and not have to take the same level of risk on her lap. Get it to the final and get the job done there. Meanwhile, behind, yeah, it's a bit of a closer battle.
Yeah, it certainly is. You've got Leia Sands in the car just in front of Munnings. Munnings needs to try and close this gap down. This is the very rutted section. We saw Veloce and Christine GZ have her problem yesterday. The car went somersaulting, got just stuck into the sand, and it can really claim you.
Here comes Leduc down to the switch zone at the bottom of the hill. Going to be pretty much status quo is at the end of this one. 11.57, okay, 13.3. So let's see what it is once they get into the switch at the bottom of the hill. He's managed to take another couple of seconds out over that last sector. We'll get it now as Sands comes in. That will give us the true gap, if you like, as she comes into the switch zone. Looking up at my screen, 15.5 on the timing screens here in the commentary box. So Leduc has edged out 15.5, but it's only 1.4, and you can see the gap. It's nothing between these.
Yeah, the switch zone's so important as well for how you can approach this. Let's have another look at the start, because you can see Chip Ganassi get a slower start than anybody else on the left-hand side, but all of a sudden they managed to do a slingshot.
I think Leduc just carries momentum. You know, if you look here, he probably hasn't lifted. The car only gets a little way sideways. He picks a lovely line in between the camel grass. Still, he's got his foot absolutely buried, just taking as much momentum as you can. Don't forget that Sands and Munnings would also have been side by side. They're looking at each other. They're trying to give each other a little bit of space, maybe a tiny little throttle lift here and there, and that made the difference. So Leduc managed to get the whole shot. Dust not bad this morning. I do think it actually looks drier in that rutted section where we saw the big roll yesterday. You can see the sand is collapsing a bit more. So that's maybe slightly less risky than it was, but the problem is in your head, you're like, ooh, this is the bad bit. So, you know, you have a little cheeky little lift and maybe lose some time. So Sarah Price is going to release the car first, bottom left of your screen. The American off-road expert driver going to be heading out of the switch zone with a 15-second lead.
Carlos Sainz is the man in the middle. El Matador will try and hunt her down. And then Timmy Hansen, 2019 World Rallycross champion, will be the third car out unless any of them have problems. And he will also have to go a-hunting in this second and final lap of semi-final 2.
Now, of course, they don't need, do they, to catch Sarah. What they need is to get out in front of... So basically, this is a 2-car race for second.
Yeah.
If they can both catch Sarah, they can both go through. But there's an argument, Jenny, that they should catch Sarah as, you know, as a pair, they could both go through. But they're never going to think that. They're both going to be thinking only one of us is going to make it. And Sarah, with a 15-second lead, is well capable of holding these two off. So I think this is a proper fight between them for the last spot in the final.
Seen a change, by the way, in the Traction Challenge winner at the moment. X44 have taken the fastest sector time, so 5 points of additional bonus for the weekend at the moment would be going to them. Let's see if anyone else can challenge.
Oh,
that's a massive roll for Hansen. Oh, he hit the tuft of grass. It sent the car flicking over, and that is absolutely gutting for Timmy.
I was hoping it was going to land on its wheels because it's not a hard impact. It wasn't a big shunt, it was just a bad bounce. The sand's come in through the window, and unfortunately Genesis Andretti United, that's the question answered, will not be in the final. So if you're Chip Ganassi Racing now, you get on the radio to Sarah and you say it's job done, you're in, just chill. And the same really for Carlos Sainz. He can just lift now and bring the car home. That's a real shame. It's a shame for us, obviously it's a shame for Andretti United, but I was looking forward to a mega battle between Hansen and Sainz. Timmy now climbing up through the passenger side of the car.
Oh, dear. What a way to end your weekend. That is... I mean, we knew, didn't we? There were so many ruts in here. You have to be very careful with the way you position the car, but there's nothing he could have done about that. It just flicked very unkindly. He's not hurt, which is the main thing. As you can see, Price getting caught up a little bit where we saw RXR getting caught up as well. So that's a real trap.
That's the same bounce that Arlen Kotlinski got, and I think that's a little bit of a sign that, you know, sometimes it's not in the driver's hands. There is Timmy out of the car. He's absolutely fine, but he will be very, very disappointed.
This was such a good weekend for them. It looked so positive. Rachel, their PR lady, heavily pregnant at home. I hope she's okay. She would have been watching that squealing at the TV, I'm sure.
Let's take another look at Timmy's incident. So look, he looks for an alternate line behind Sainz. He goes to the inside, but unfortunately, camel grass just limits out the front left suspension. The car bounces badly, and if that had come back on its wheels, Jenny, you see what I mean? There's no big impact at all. Here we are, look, you're on board. He slots out to the left. He maybe doesn't realise it's quite there, and over it goes. It's not a heavy impact, but it's on its side. Game over. There it is from the back of Carlos's car. And then the sand as the final insult, you know, pouring in through the side of the car. Here we go, watch on board with Timmy now. And there it is, door open and sand in. Yeah, cheers. That's insult to injury, yeah.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it does take the pressure off of these two as they cruise round, because 2 go through, 1 goes out, so we know what that is. But Katie Munnings must be absolutely gutted, and it's a pretty unpleasant experience watching your fellow teammate rolling around in the sand in a car in an Odyssey 21.
I was looking forward to the race.
Yeah,
I really was. But there you go. Look, you know, the track is as much of a challenge as the race is. Timmy got a bad bounce. Sarah gets a bounce off that same rut that got Sebastian Loeb on day 1, wasn't it? Who got a huge 2-wheel moment there. Come on, Sarah, let's get this home. So she was 15 seconds up the road from Carlos Sainz. He's closed that down by about 8. The team have probably made her aware that she doesn't need to do anything too crazy. She's just got to get the car to the finish. She's got just the 1 jump to go. Sarah Price coming down the hill. Her and Carl Duke will be going through to the final for the 2nd time in their Extreme E history. Let's hope they have a better run this time than they did last year. Brilliant job by Chip Ganassi Racing, and the Hummer EV are through to the final. Carlos Sainz crosses the line, and the Dakar legend with his teammate Leia Sands will also be up for the win here in round 1 of Extreme E.
Great stuff there. Well done to Ganassi, Chip Ganassi. They've battled hard to try and get some reliability in their Hummer EV, to get some luck as well, and you can see what it means to Sarah Price as she takes off her gloves. Just does a little sigh of relief. They are through.
Relief, isn't it? Definitely, Jenny, is the word. Bang on the money.
Oof.
There it is, look, yeah, big sigh, big sigh. faces the car forward, and one of the mechanics now will guide her back into the tent. No work. I mean, there is work to do on the car, but you know what I mean, don't you, Jenny? No major moments, no major dramas. This is a chill weekend for Chip Ganassi Racing compared to what they've had in the past.
Why would you say that? It's just mean.
Right, we're going to have a quick chat with Katie Munnings, who's down in the command centre for Andretti United. Katie, unlucky. We were looking forward to a great battle there, but a bad bounce for Timmy, and he's out fairly close to the start. Obviously, he looks okay, but you must be disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's always disappointing. We've had a good weekend up until now. You know, we finished qualifying in P2. Unfortunately, you know, it's tricky from the start for us. We choose our grid spots last night. We had first choice. We chose the same as Loeb and X44, and it didn't seem like the right choice for them or for us this time. So it was a kind of battle from there. And obviously, he had a job to do. You know, it was only the top two that went through to qualifying, and these bumps out here are so unpredictable in the desert that it really could happen anywhere. So yeah, glad he's okay, but really, really disappointing for the team.
Right, look, game over for you guys for this weekend, but obviously you bang on the pace. You know, it's a long season, and I'm sure you must be pleased to see how competitive you are and your great new colours on the car. Exciting season to come, you know, chin up.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've always got to look at the positives as a team. You know, Timmy's an amazing driver, and you know, credits to him. He got the super sector as well this weekend, and he's fast. And this is motorsport. Sometimes it happens, and we'll have to take the positives and come back stronger next time.
Track's looking really tricky for everyone. Have you got your eye on a favourite or not? I think it's looking a bit more open this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, we thought that the spot that we chose for the grid play, for the point selection off the start would be the ideal one, but it doesn't look like it worked on either. It kind of closed in. We were expecting Bay 2 to go to the left of the mound, and they closed in onto our lane, so it made it very tight for us to make the first corner. So I think that was compromised. So I think it depends a lot on the grid play and your start place off the start. But yeah, the racing's been a lot closer this year, and it's really exciting to see that for the championship.
Thank you, Katie, for joining us. Much appreciated. Speak to you soon.
Thank you.
So this is the instant again. You can see it's just tucked in behind Sainz, just goes over that grass, rolls around, the back flicks up, and as you say, blindsided because he was just looking for a way past. We go on board here, and this will give you a really good shot of it.
He can't see it, Jenny. This is the thing, you see. So because he's so close behind, and he probably, you know, you don't remember where every one of those is, and the onboard actually gives you the best shot, doesn't it, of how he got it wrong.
Yeah, and you can see it just cruelly whips around. Just watch his hands on the steering wheel. Oh, point of impact. Yowzers. Sound comes in, and you know your weekend's over. Very cruel, isn't it? Unforgiving, and that is the desert.
Here you are on board with Timmy now. Watch him pull out. The sand appears. He hits it with the front right. If he'd pulled out half a second earlier, he would have gone to the left of that tiny little grass lump. He didn't, unfortunately, and there you can see the camera hanging off and a bit of damage on the car.
A little bit. It'll buff out, but unfortunately, that's the end of their weekend. So let's take a look at the results then. Just to remind you, it's Chip Ganassi Racing in their Hummer EV in first slot. They go through to the final. In second, it's the Acciona Sainz team of Leia Sands and Carlos Sainz going through, and out for the weekend, it's Munnings and Hansen in the Genesis Andretti United car. Disappointment for them, clearly, but let's pop back down to Laura Winter in the pit lane. We've sent her scurrying around. Who's she found next?
Well, from that Genesis Andretti United crash to the winners of that semi-final, and what a win it was. Carl, we'll come to you first. A brilliant start, a great opening lap just to set things up.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a plan and kind of a 50-50 on the start, but we kind of had to pull the trigger on hyperdrive on the start and get ahead and just put my head down and start grinding. And I made a couple major mistakes that probably killed a good 5-10 seconds out of that lap. So wasn't a good lap for me in the saddle. Pushed a little hard at the end to try to get it, aired it out, you know, LeDuc style. But that's just what this team is all about, man. We work hard and we play hard too. So very happy to come in with a win and just a consecutive, consistent lap. She did great. I had a decent lap, and we're here. We're happy.
That means there's more speed to come as well for the final later on. Your second final of Extreme E. Sarah, how aware were you of what was happening behind with the Timmy Hansen crash? And were you told then just to foot off the gas, cruise it in a sense, to make sure you get back safe?
Yeah, 100%. You know, Kyle did a good job getting the car to me and a good gap. So I knew I just had to keep Carlos off of me and Timmy, and then I heard that they rolled about a quarter through my lap. So that right there just reserved our spot for the final, so we just had to bring it to the finish and just work on some things on our lap as well, because, you know, I felt like Kyle didn't feel like it was the best lap as well, but hey, I'll take results over that any day. So yeah, we did really good. Our teams worked really hard to get here, obviously, from last year coming to this. So we're just trying to keep the ball rolling.
You've got a lot of pace coming into the final. Can't wait to see how it goes. Thank you very much. Well done.
Yes, yes, we love that. Carl Leduc Starley was saying there. Interesting they used hyperdrive off the start, isn't it?
That answers our question, doesn't it, as to how from the bad start he managed to get back to where they did. So we didn't see that directly on the start. We didn't see the trigger point. But that if you activate it, of course, you have got to use it as long as you can. It's not the ideal place to try and use those seconds of extra power. Most people have been using it on the long straights, but he wanted the whole shot. He wanted to be in front, and I think it was the right decision.
Loving the paddock, loving the life down there. Everybody really focused on this race weekend. Of course, got the final coming up for you later. Still the crazy race to go. And as you can see, those are the pairings going through. So just one spot left. And look at those 4 teams. They are pedigree teams. It is going to be one heck of a battle still to come. Fascinating battle. So X44, RXR, Chip Ganassi and Acciona Sainz, the 4 teams making it through so far.
Any of the other 4 are going to make that equally exciting, aren't they, from the crazy race? I don't know which one of those I'd pick to make it the ultimate super close final, but I think this is the closest racing we've ever seen in Extreme E, and that's a great start to season 2, to see so many people on that pace. A bit of a shame, obviously, for Hanson, Marnings and Bennett and Molinaro not to make it in, but, you know, some people have got to not make the final, and when it's this close, tiny little mistakes make a big difference.
Just thinking about that crazy race, those 4 teams going through, JBXE, McLaren, Abt and Veloce, and they also went with the same information on gate selection. So the first pick went to JBXE. They will start far out on the right-hand side in gate number 4. How much of a disadvantage will that be with the thinking that they thought it was going to be an advantage to start over there? You
just don't know, do you? You know, is it the dampness? There was overnight rain again, but maybe not quite like it was the day before. You know, the conditions change. We're looking at Katie on the left-hand side and the Sainz car on your right looking backwards. So that was what, so Katie, this is exactly what Jenny was just speaking about, is off the start, they thought they had the best slot and they felt they didn't.
That's
Meanwhile, around the
hyperdrive.
outside, yeah, hyperdrive with Kyle Leduc and gets the whole shot and takes the car down into turn 1. He had 1 bad kick on the rear. Interesting what he said, Jenny, that he had 2 mistakes that cost at least 5 seconds, maybe 10. We saw a mistake for Sarah Price. That one corner's getting very tricky. Yeah, this is very much wide open, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. You just see that the sand isn't too bad, the dust flicking up. You've still got pretty good visibility in front of you, but I think Munnings losing out at the start was hugely costly for that team, and it really set up Timmy to have to try and challenge, and unfortunately couldn't.
This was where Munnings tried the pass with her hyperdrive, if you remember, and she needed to have got it done by now because it just funnels in and gets super tight.
Yeah, absolutely. Going up to the rocks, really, really tough. If she could have made that stick, would have been a very different story, I think, but couldn't be done for her.
I mean, Sands might have responded, but yeah, you're right. You know, you need to be P2, don't you? And then of course Timmy wouldn't have had to take the risk on the next lap. But you could, you know, Sands could have repassed her, Sainz could have repassed Timmy. They're all just trying so hard, aren't they, to get the job done. Only 2 could go through. Well, Extreme E's driver lineup is the envy of many other motorsports. We've got a compelling mix of exciting new talent and some of the most successful off-road racers of all time. We're going to have a catch-up with 2 of the class of 2022.
Extreme E was a whole new challenge for me, but now I know what I can do. So this year, I'm here to win the championship. I'm Michaela Allen-Kotelinski, and I'm a driver for Rosberg X Racing.
Swedish racer Michaela Allen-Kotelinski has racing in her blood. Her grandfather won the Paris-Dakar Rally, her dad raced in the World Rally Championship, and even her younger brother is a racer. But Michaela's inspiration comes from her mum, a rally driver herself who showed Michaela that in racing, gender doesn't matter.
Always when people ask me who my role model is, it's my mom. It sounds maybe a bit cheesy, but she is.
Despite her family's off-road background, most of Michaela's driving career has been on track, racing touring cars. But when the opportunity to join Extreme E presented itself, she knew it was the right decision.
To be here is the highest point of my career ever. What Extreme E is doing for females in motorsport now is really amazing, to create this platform for us to race with the best drivers in the whole world. It's definitely the highest of my career.
In season 1, she managed 4 podiums in a row and 3rd place in the championship with JBXE, grabbing the attention of RXR and securing her a drive with the champs.
So when you get the call that there is maybe a possibility to join the championship winning team, you almost don't believe that it's true, but also felt that I was ready for the challenge. I feel ready now to head into season 2 with a clear goal to win the championship.
I have been racing for more than 30 years. Of course, I have a lot of experience, but we are starting with a new championship and we are starting from zero. I'm Carlos Sainz and I am driving for Acciona Sainz Extreme team.
2-time World Rally champion and 4-time Dakar Rally winner Carlos Sainz is a name synonymous with success in off-road and rally racing.
I think my interest in motor racing really started when I was a boy. That was my dream. I wanted to become professional. I wanted to spend my life driving cars. I still have the passion. I'm still enjoying when I'm driving. I enjoy my life so much.
El Matador won his first WRC title in 1990, and his most recent Dakar victory came only 2 years ago. Carlos is still a force to be reckoned with and will be pushing for his first all-electric title in season 2.
It's only one goal, to try to win the championship, trying to win the race. As a driver, you only want to win. That's the only thing.
Now let's go over to our commentary box as well, because Tamara Molinaro is there. Tamara, you did a great job for Excite all weekend so far, but we saw you upset. I'm so sorry. Are you enjoying it?
Lads, this hurts so bad. Honestly, it's heartbreaking. Seriously, I mean, we had a great weekend. We did our best. Even the team has been amazing, so it would have been such an amazing reward to get a final. I really tried my best, and then I did a stupid mistake, and we lost it. So.
What was your mistake, Tamara? What did you feel you did wrong? I mean, Phyllis, obviously we're looking at all 3 cars here. What did you feel you could have done differently?
Yeah, so basically I tried to be flat out as much as I could. I tried to be, as close as Johan as I could. So I basically tried not to lift from the start until the top of the hill where the rocks are. There I actually managed to get really close to Johan, and then I always say that the blood in that moment doesn't go to your brain anymore, so you just basically want to try to overtake and try to be, to be in front. I saw an opportunity because I saw that Johan ran a bit wide there because he hit the bomb. So I said, okay, if I stay in really tight, then I can carry more speed down the hill and maybe I can overtake. But obviously I went too tight and I went over the wrong line full of camel grass, and there you just take risks. And I didn't want to risk anything for the team, so
Tamara,
I just tried to catch up then the time I lost.
We're just seeing actually the incident with the Andretti United and Timmy Hansen on that camel grass. Just tell us what it's like, because you can see our pictures as well. It looked like it just caught him totally out. That must be very easy for it to happen.
Oh, guys, it's so easy. These camel grass are so hard at the bottom, and at the same time, like I said before, the blood doesn't go to your brain, and you just want to go in front, and you just go for it. But sadly, those camel grass are not forgiving. So yeah, I'm really sad for the Andretti team. They've done a great weekend. So yeah, but that's motorsport, sadly.
It's an unforgiving course out there, isn't it? We've seen a lot of people getting sucked into this sand. I mean, it sets us up beautifully for the crazy race and for the final, doesn't it? What is the condition like out there? What does it feel like when you're driving out there?
To be honest, today didn't feel as bad as yesterday afternoon. Also, the dust is a bit less than yesterday, so that's great. And yeah, I mean, I think it will be a great crazy race and a great final for sure. Will be interesting.
Good stuff, Tamara. We're so sorry for your heartbreak. We're sorry it didn't quite go for you, but we hope that we'll see you back in a car at some point very soon, because you've been absolutely thrilling. So congratulations, well done to Excite. Not their weekend. They go out, not through to the final, but a cracking job from all involved. So you can see all of the cars getting prepped, getting ready. It's an exciting weekend, isn't it, Andrew?
Yeah, lots of work, you know, just in between, little bits of re-prep, make sure everything's just how you want it, so you've got the best chance possible of not having a problem on the next one.
So let's hear from Christine GZ. Suffered yesterday, poorly foot.
Well, I found my way down to the E-Explorer Lounge. It's all going on. We've got some drummers here, I think are just about to start up once again, but we found a familiar face. And for those who weren't watching over the course of the weekend, GZ had a pretty big crash, it's fair to say, rolled the car, and unfortunately, you have fractured your foot. How are you doing physically?
All good, thank you. I'm on a lot of painkillers, so I'm a little bit wee. No, but all good. It's just, I'm really sad, you know, for the team. I really wanted to go for the results, so. But it is what it is. We're racing.
Exactly, and Veloce are going to head out soon in the crazy race. Heather is your replacement. How is she going to get on, do you think?
She's going to do it right. I mean, she's our reserve driver for something, so we're completely in their hands, and we saw that Lance has an amazing pace, so they're going to be fine. I'll be here cheering as hard as ever with my beautiful crutches, bamboo clutches. I hope you like them.
Oh, thank you so much. Sorry not to see you in the car. Get better soon. Thank you. Well, Jack, a good sign. There's an empty tent behind you, which means the car is on the start line. That was a Herculean effort to get it back onto that grid after GZ's crash. You must be so proud.
Yeah, the guy's done a great job. I mean, everyone mucked in. You saw Lance, you might have seen Lance he got the spanner out straight away, and no, the guys did a great job. We weren't sure when the car came back that it was going to get out for the rest of the weekend, but you know, three and a half hours later, it was ready to go. So yeah, no, pumped.
All to play for now in the crazy race. Thank you very much. Good luck.
It's crazy race time, 4 cars. If you thought 3 was interesting enough, when we've got 4 for you in a brand new entry this year, it is McLaren Extreme E team, led by Zach Brown, who is out there. Lena Gade, a very experienced engineer, will be engineering that team along with her sister Tina. So they will go up against JBXE, Apt Cupra and Veloce Racing. And bear in mind, Veloce have a brand new contestant for them, Hedda Hossas. She's not really been involved in the weekend so far, managed to get 1 recce lap in yesterday, deputising for Christine GZ. It's going to be very tough for the 20-year-old from Norway, but I'm sure she can do this. Teaming up with Lance Woolridge as well. There's some great talent out there for the crazy race, and only 1 spot through to the final.
Well, there is the backdrop for our final race in this session. 4 into 1. Yes, it's going to be tricky for everyone, particularly as you say, Hossas jumping into the car for the first time. 1 recce lap is certainly not enough to find your ultimate pace in these machines. There, the cars are down on the grid. Of course, McLaren yesterday we saw mega pace from them, but they're not great luck. Apt Cupra, you know, they got their penalties for, I don't know, misbehaving maybe a little bit in their one. Should be a thriller.
Attention all teams, this is race control. Stand by for the start of the Desert X Prix. The crazy race is about to commence. Energize your systems and prepare to race.
It is time to go racing, the crazy race. This is going to be a great clash. It's the Titans coming together. We have Veloce, McLaren, Apt, JBXE. And just to give you a little inkling, they thought when they were choosing their gate positions yesterday, they were doing the right thing. But today, it's all changed, isn't it, Andrew Coley?
Yep, surface is constantly changing in off-road racing. Kevin Hansen putting his belts on. He's got a challenge on that right-hand side of the grid. We know we haven't seen that work for anybody so far. There's Jutta Kleinschmidt for Apt Cupra. She'll be handing over to Nasser Al-Attiyah. Looks like Tanner Faust is in the car first for, no, we're seeing Gilmore on ours. Well, off the line, other way, on the outside. Bad traction there for Veloce, didn't quite get away. Kevin Hansen got a great start on the inside line. Gets just in front of Jutta Kleinschmidt. Kleinschmidt going to try and respond around the outside. It is Gilmore in the car for McLaren. Gilmore drops back into 4th. They come in super close together. Woolridge maybe going to get the whole shot. Bad bounce, Veloce machine. Runs wide over the grass, just holds on. McLaren have gone out super wide. Woolridge still on the inside line, but has lost some pace. Kevin Hansen with a bad bounce now gets the car in. Over the bump goes Jutta Kleinschmidt. Emma Gilmore trying to come around the outside. Gilmore going to get 2 with 1 move. slots into P2 from P4. What a great move by Emma Gilmore, up to second.
Absolutely brilliant. So we've got Kevin Hansen out in front for JBXE. Gilmore in that McLaren car just trying to come up. I don't know if Veloce have picked up a problem from that very aggressive bounce. They seem to be going backwards. Had to rebuild the car after the damage yesterday. Wasn't too badly altered, but might be enough. And then you can see the App Cooper car at the back with Kleinschmidt trying to claw back some time.
I think Veloce have gone. I think it's App Cooper in P3, but it's hard to tell in the dirt, isn't it? I think Veloce have gone. So Veloce looked like they pulled off the side of the course. Brilliant racing here in NEOM. Up into the braking zone now comes Kevin Hansen. Let's look back and we'll try and figure out just where they are. We'll see as they come through the gates. Gilmore is right there, just 3.3 back. Emma, 2 wheels for Kevin in the dirt there. How far back are App Cooper and Kleinschmidt? There, you're on board with Emma. She goes through the deeply rutted section. So Woolridge looks like he might still be going. They're showing plus 8.74, but he ran really wide in the back of our shot onto that straight, and it looked like he was pulling off the track, so maybe a problem from that big bounce.
Yeah, so you can see Hansen out in front. Gilmore, they've used their hyperdrive maybe in the last section, and then the App Cooper of Kleinschmidt just trying to claw back time. Kleinschmidt, Dakar legend, 2001 winner. She knows the stand really well. What can she do here? JBXE, though, out in front at the moment with Hansen. Very assured drive right now. He's got a gap of just over 4 seconds to the McLaren.
They had a rough day yesterday, didn't they? Broken drive shaft. Molly really didn't get to show the pace we saw her show last year. Molly Taylor, Kevin's teammate. You know, if Kevin brings this in the lead, we know that Molly was very, very hard to beat last year, but she is going to be going up against the likes of Tanner Faust and Nasser Al-Attiyah as well. So expect this to be a very, very good race if the gaps are still like this at the end of the run.
We did see from Al-Attiyah yesterday, he was going for it. He was slightly on the line of where you would call fair racing potentially, but you can guarantee he will come into this championship and set it ablaze in a desert which is kind of his stomping ground. But that is a great lead at the moment for Kevin Hansen. JBXE to hand over to Molly Taylor, our reigning champion, who's moved teams. Slightly surprising, she's gone from RXR across to Jenson Button. Those two know each other quite well, don't they, Rosberg and Button?
Woolridge still going now. He's 40 seconds down. You can see his throttle trace at the bottom of the screen is really low, so there may well be a problem with that car. Everyone else was 100% throttle. There he is, 40 back. Just 9 seconds between Hansen and Gilmore, and then only 3.6 seconds now between Gilmore and Kleinschmidt. So those cars are going to come in super close together. Al-Attiyah and Faust could potentially leave the switch zone side by side. They're going to be super close. Gilmore coming in out that rutted, long left-handed corner now. We saw problems yesterday trying to hold on to the McLaren machine. Oh, there in the background, Kleinschmidt comes in fully lit. Sideways down the hill. Has she gone? Did she miss the flags? Did she miss the gate in the background? The tyre trace suggests, but I don't know if that was branding or gates. Kevin Hansen comes in now. Gilmore uses a hyperdrive up the hill to just try and keep a decent gap towards the finish line. But Kleinschmidt coming in hot behind, so JBXE are in first. McLaren come in second and App Cooper in third. There's only about 14 seconds between those 3 cars.
And remember, this is a battle to try and get into the final. Only one team goes through, so there is a lot to play for right now, and getting the switch imperative.
So Kleinschmidt made a mistake in that super fast corner, but it's whether or not the second set of flags were just branding flags or whether they were actually one of the gates, whether or not she missed it. They might have been the end of the Continental Traction Challenge. This was the start. Gilmore, watching the background, hasn't had a great start. Woolridge gets this huge jump, which is where I wonder, did he then break something on the car? He comes back in from the side. Kevin Hansen with a clear hole shot, but watch Gilmore here on the alternate line in the McLaren around the outside. Keeps the throttle in through here, despite being pretty sideways. Kleinschmidt looks up the inside of the Veloce machine, and Emma goes right round the outside. So as I say, I wonder if the Veloce machine was already damaged there, but Gilmore's carried so much speed. It was a brilliant pass, Jenny.
So Hansen will transfer over to Molly Taylor, as you can see, going on now. She hasn't even got her race overall sorted yet because it's such a late deal to be done. Kleinschmidt to Al-Attiyah, Gilmore to Tanner Faust. McLaren brand new in this championship, and Woolridge will hand over to our newbie 20-year-old Norwegian rallycross driver, Hedda Hossas.
Kevin Hansen lying on the floor, looks really winded.
Wow.
I don't know what he's done. Did
he land, unfortunately, when he got out the car or something?
I don't know, we didn't see. So Kevin Hansen lying in the switch zone, super out of breath, it seems.
Well, send Laura down to just find out that he's okay, and we'll try and catch up with the team as soon as we possibly can. You can just see Veloce coming in the background, but Taylor is going out now, and she will take the lead of this crazy race. 1 place between them all.
Tanner Faust leaves the switch zone. Al-Attiyah will follow very closely indeed. The Dakar legend looks across, releases the car from its box. There's a second between them at the very most when they leave. They were so spectacular, both these drivers yesterday, both with so much experience in off-road, but with so little experience in Extreme E. What can they do? Can they close down on the reigning champion, Molly Taylor, who switched teams to JBXE? This is a battle royale in NEOM for the last place in the final. There is Molly Taylor up at turn 1 or turn 2, the left-hander, and the gap is 12.45 back to Tanner Faust. This is on.
Yeah, we will keep on watching that gap, and you have two very aggressive drivers in Tanner Faust, who comes from Top Gear US. He's driven in everything when it comes to a competitive nature, but not in Extreme E. This is his first race. Alatia is a legend of Dakar. He has raced the very best there and won this year, and just look at the gap. Look at the 3 cars, look at the distance.
So Molly's got the most experience, obviously, in these cars, but she had a shocking day yesterday. Faust and Alatia were taking huge risks. Yeah, they haven't paid the price for those risks yet. You know, Molly had a couple of rolls last year. She knows what it's like if you get a bad bounce. Look what happened to Timmy today. Faust and Alatia don't have that fear of the car yet. You know, they're just out there getting lit and getting after it. So 9.5. Faust has eaten into the gap already, and Alatia's going with him. He's only 3 seconds back. Late on the brakes now. Up in front, that's the McLaren machine. You're on board with Alatia as he bounces the App Cupra into that braking zone. Couldn't be closer. 7 seconds now, the gap. Faust has carved another 2.5 off.
Yeah, crikey, that is a really scary bend to come round 9. You've just got to hold on. Car goes up on 2 wheels. Now ahead, that's the danger zone. It's where we've seen the life sucked out of these cars as it hits into the sand and holds on. Looks like Alatia's taking that wide line. Can he keep on going and keep the pace down this hill? You can see the two of them so close. They've taken the same line, following each other, one after the other.
Absolutely brilliant place to go racing. NEOM has provided so much great action. Down the hill now, Tanner Faust has cut the gap down to 4.6 seconds. Alatia is going with him. He's just 3 behind. Looks like they've all got their hyperdrives left on the left-hand side of the screen. Faust is sight to set. Oh, in the background, the car bounces high. Now he's right with Molly Taylor. Sideways in the background as well comes to Alatia.
This is one of the sections where you can make up so much time if you take the right line. We've seen lots of variant lines here. So Taylor out in front, Faust closing down. Alatia, you can just see the distances being eaten up. There's nothing between them now. Faust is on full attack. 22, car number 22. That's Molly Taylor under investigation for speeding in the switch zone.
Oh, that could be a disaster if they get a penalty now. Taylor runs wide, Faust is on the inside. Expect them to use their hyperdrive. They're both hit at the same time now. Tanner Faust trying to close down the gap to Molly Taylor in front. He'll know she's used hyperdrive. He goes left, she goes right, looking for an alternate line. How long are they going to dare to stay on the throttle for? We're behind. Alatia hasn't used his hyperdrive. Is he going to try and hold on close? He does now. Faust wins the inside line.
Oh, there's no way through up that section. It's very skinny in the thread. Oh, he's gone wide. It's gone down the inside line. McLaren gets past him. What a place to overtake. I didn't think it was possible. There it is, but coming down here, can they hold the line? We know this is rutted badly, and they are all under pressure. 3 great drives. Molly kicking up all over the place at the moment.
Molly goes for the low line now. She's going to make it through the gate. Has to lift. Alatia passes her as well. Tanner Faust now with a clear line. Molly maybe going to drop down to the lower end. They might get a speeding penalty anyway, side by side, but only the winner is going to go through.
Just one of these cars is due to make it through to the final. Molly Taylor, we're on board with her, but look, it's Faust who pirouettes over the final podium place. He's got to get through over the line, and it looks like he's done it. What a drive from McLaren. Their first race weekend, and they have got through to the final. It was the App Cooper in second place, JBXE coming in third, and Tanner is over the moon. There is Lena Gay celebrating. Zach Brown will be apoplectic. He has come in, and what a result for them.
Look at that, Emma Gilmore hugging it out in the background. She had such a terrible day yesterday, just took it easy on the first run, then the car wouldn't start. Tanner Faust crosses the line and just shouts, yes, and that's exactly what I was thinking. An absolutely brilliant race. They did well to close Taylor down. She's the reigning champion. She was going very quickly. Faust found that way past up the hill. It was just about how long he stayed on the throttle for. Their hyperdrives had been expended miles before, and it was just, yes, look at that. Full stoke from Tanner.
It's so nice to be able to see them coming into the paddock, the reaction of all of their team. They are so excited, and who can blame how brilliant that was. Tanner Faust, absolutely brilliant. Emma Gilmore set it up, and what a hunt down that was. The second lap was just phenomenal.
Oh, how good was that? How good was that? And how excited are you to see McLaren in the first final for the first time at their first attempt? from the crazy race as well. You know, odds against it, and they made it through.
And they have such a deficit in data and information. Brilliant.
So we're going to have a chat with Emma Gilmore, who's down in the command centre, and I imagine is feeling pretty excited about the results. Emma, that's more like it. We spoke last night, and I don't think yesterday was your favourite day ever, and I suspect today might be.
Oh, it was such a tough day yesterday for the team. Everyone's put so much effort in, and it was really disappointing with the problems we had. So absolutely stoked for us to get through to the final today. It's awesome.
Well done. I mean, great drive by you up in turn 2. You didn't look like you got the greatest start, and then you went P4 to P2 round the outside. That's how we send it.
I don't know how it worked. It worked. That's all that matters.
And what about Tanner's pass on Molly up the hill? It was a drag race across the amazing flora of the desert here in NEOM, and somehow he stuck it up the inside.
Oh, Tanner's doing a phenomenal job. You know, being his first time racing here this weekend. I mean, it's such a challenging series, and he's really he's lapping it up. His descriptions afterwards are always hilarious, but no, he's doing an amazing job.
Well done, the both of you. I think you better get back to your pit tent and go celebrate with the guys and get yourselves ready for your first final ever with McLaren on your first race weekend. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Delighted to see her smiling, so happy. What a great success for McLaren to come into this championship. I mean, they're such a well-known brand. Tanner Faust there looking really excited, and NEOM is just providing us such a fantastic base for this racing. It has been utterly breathtaking. Tina and Lena Gade, their race engineers, and look at this. What a beautiful backdrop in NEOM, Saudi Arabia. The first time Extreme E has come here, and motorsport is now such a haven for Saudi Arabia, but look at that.
Yeah, absolutely stunning place, isn't it? It's going to be a hub for sports and tech and all sorts in future, and it's just great to be along here. I must say I'm enjoying the track layout this year. It's just closer racing, and yeah, it's been great so far. It's still got the final to come, of course. Find out who the winner is of the first round of Extreme E this year, Season 2. I'm excited for Season 2 as well now, Jenny, you know?
No, we've got some really, really good drivers out there. Great teams, engineers, mechanics, all coming together. And look at this. The results of the crazy race. A disappointment, I think, for Veloce. They suffered, I think, out there heavily at that start line incident. Third place, it was JBXC. Second, at Cupra. And first, of course, McLaren XE.
Shout out for Hedda Hozas. She came here as the reserve for Veloce, ended up as the championship driver when Molinaro had to take over for Anderson. And we didn't even really get to see her. So Hedda, welcome to the series, and we hope we get to see you back in the car again at some time. Great to see another promising junior driver. Here's the pass from Faust. End of the straight look. He keeps it on the inside line. Molly Taylor coming up the hill. Does she run just a tiny bit wide? By the time they come over the crest, McLaren is up the inside. Let me just say that again. The McLaren is up the inside. It wasn't something I thought we'd ever be saying in off-road racing, and I'm just delighted to see them here. Go on, Tanner. Go on.
He's such a likeable guy. I had the good fortune of working with him last year. I know you've worked with him quite a lot.
Yeah.
He's a great addition to the championship, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is, and you know, you can see that he knows how to get it. And Emma as well with a great run this time. You know, that will be a huge confidence boost for her. She's representing New Zealand. You know, Bruce McLaren, the founder, wonderful.
NASA, hard luck, second in that crazy race. That was your first experience of Extreme E. What have you learned?
Yeah, I learned a lot. You know, I'm really happy, you know, to race this race, you know, in Saudi here, and I learned a lot. And I think we need to come back again for next race, you know, with a good strategy. You know, yes, I have a good feedback, you know, and just. You know, I am here to learning, and it was my dream to be in the final, you know, but okay, thank for the teams, you know, and thank for everybody who support us. I think we can come next race strong.
39% of the grid play votes that you will now donate to a car in the final. Can I ask, will you be donating it to Acciona Science, Mr. Carlos?
I don't know, but I will see which team we can help him, you know, but okay, maybe Carlos or maybe the other team, you know, but okay, we'll see. We'll make a surprise.
We shall see indeed. Hard luck, NASA. Sorry not to see you in the final.
Okay.
Best wishes.
But maybe that will be the apology that Carlos is looking for if NASA donates his 39%. Basically, whoever they donate to, Jenny's going to get the first pick of the grid. And we've already seen the grid looks pretty tricky, doesn't it?
Really does. There is Tanner Faust talking to Lena Gade, having a little conflab about what they're going to do to go racing next time. I think they might be the people that get that 39% grid. Who knows? This is the Apt Cupra
You just
Great
saw
view.
it. I think Emma Gilmore just walked into the tent as we cut. You saw them all cheering, which was lovely. Look how committed he was. I don't think we've seen anyone jump that crest. A lot of them have jumped the finish crest. There's the bad bounce for Molly, so Molly ends up really deep. Alatia goes inside.
Takes a middle line, which we haven't really seen too many people take, just to try, I think, something, and then realises, actually, I probably need to bail out of this and go left, follow McLaren.
We never found out what happened to Kevin Hansen either, did we?
No.
Whether he hurt himself out on course, whether he got a bad look at Alatia.
Whee!
Yeah, committed. Committed. But by now he will have known it was game over. And I have to say, epic job by Gilmore, Faust and McLaren to go through from the crazy race. Brilliant driving from Kleinschmidt and Alatia. You know, it wasn't to be for Kevin Hansen, Molly Taylor this weekend, a tricky one for them, and also for Veloce. Shout out to Veloce for getting that car back out, Jenny. That's some work by their mechanics.
Yeah, they did a really good job out there, and I think really unfortunate all weekend they've been caught out very harshly. There is Tanner Faust celebrating, and as you can see, Tina Gade, then a hug for Emma Gilmore, and everyone in McLaren, rightfully so, is delighted. Remember, it's their first. There's Zach Brown, CEO of McLaren. He's going to have a busy year. Extreme E, F1, IndyCar, you name it. Great stuff. Let's go back down into the paddock. Laura Winter's there for us.
There we go, first Extreme E race for McLaren XE, first final. Emma, I'm going to come to you first. That move around the outside, so overtake two cars. Come on, that was pretty special, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think Tanner summed up perfectly in terms of, you know, you have a plan until the first punch gets thrown, and yeah, it was a bit like that. It was like, yeah, we'll end up here, and it worked out perfectly. So yeah, it was great. It was all on there. Tanner was in my ear encouraging me. It was a real team effort.
And Tanner as well, just come in. Brilliant from you just to get through that final lap and get over the line.
I'm so proud to make the final. I'm stoked for the whole team. I mean, you wouldn't believe the work that goes in behind the scenes just for some short amount of track time. So to be able to kind of pull it off, get in the final, there's a lot of teams here that haven't made the final in a year of competing. So I think it's a big accomplishment for the McLaren team. So I'm super proud.
Zach, your two drivers here. One race, one final. Not bad, eh?
No, this is great. This is why you need two great drivers. I mean, the passes they made were awesome. Mark and the whole team have developed and built a great car. So yeah, to be in the finals in the first race is great. So it's all to play for now.
It is indeed. When we came in, we heard you debriefing, talking about the different lines, so we'll leave you to continue doing that. Thank you both so much. Well done.
So Mark Grain, the man he was talking about, is their team principal down at McLaren, a very talented bunch of people all coming together to propel them into the final.
I love seeing Zach Brown come into Emma, and he gave the, the classic, look, there he is again with the classic hand signals, and he was talking to Emma about the turn one move. There is your final lineup, and honestly, after qualifying here, any of the 10 teams, we were looking at the semis yesterday, the heat races yesterday, and going, none of them are easy, but this final is going to be absolutely epic, Jenny, isn't it? Wow, what a lineup, and McLaren in there on their debut weekend.
Yeah, McLaren RXR, Chip Ganassi Racing, Acciona Sainz, and McLaren. That is 5 big hitters. Make sure you come back to watch the final race, because this is hot stuff, Andrew.
It is, yeah. It's been brilliant. It's been so close. We'll take a look at which driver's going to be in the car first, what we think that's going to mean at the start. All those bumps, all that sand and dust. 5 cars, 1 winner, 1 race to come later today.
So it's all set up beautifully. NEOM is shining spectacularly in the background, and the cars will take to the track in just a couple of hours' time. From all of us here, bye for now.
Drive now.